Good morning, my family. All right, all right, all right. Can you hear me? Are we here? Are we live? Let's see. Let me check out the comments and see if everybody can see us. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Mic is on. Testing. Mic is working. Excellent. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our MoB Kaffeeklatsch episode 114. Wow, 114. We've done 114 of these, babe. Woo! Amazing. Woo! Live on Memorex. All right, so I hope everyone's well. Welcome to our 114th episode. Let's see, it's a balmy 40-something degrees. So, during my walk this morning, it was 35 degrees. It was beautiful. I know a lot of you don't think that's beautiful, but it's a wonderful, wonderful morning. It's no rain, no snow. That's a good morning. So I'm going to guess that's Jasmine who's saying good morning from Stacy Stein. Oh, she has a migraine. Tell her, say I'm sorry she has a migraine. All right, let me start from the top and say hello to everybody. Good morning, Connie. Welcome. Hello, Mary Beth. Good morning. Chris Mendoza. Good morning. Tommy, good morning. Tommy Reeves, good morning. Hello from London. Oh, I don't know who's in London. I think I'm going to guess. Is that Carrie? Good morning. Hello, London. Good morning, Carrie. Hola, Bena. Good morning. Let's see who else. Heather. Good morning, Heather. Death Wish needs to do a donut shop style. I don't know what that means, but it sounds whatever. If it's Death Wish involved, it sounds good. Let's see. What else we got? Who else do we have here? I think that's it right now. Let's see. Audrey, good morning. Audrey still has an unbroken question streak. That's like, we have to, I'm going to go back and count how many questions are. I think she's been asking questions since the questions have been available.
3 per episode.
And 3 per, right, 3 per.
Or 300.
If she's been asking since we started, and one episode 114, it's 300 almost 345. 345 questions Audrey has asked. Yeah, 342. I don't think anyone's going to get close to Audrey's record at this rate. All right. So I think that's Jasmine who said good morning. We got light snow here in Denver. Who's that? It's a Facebook user. Okay. And good morning, all. We might hit 80 degrees in Mississippi. Hello, Connie on YouTube. All right. So good morning, everyone. And thank you for being here, because what's the show without you guys being here hanging out with us? I don't think you've ever repeated a question, Audrey. Off the top of my head, do you remember any questions repeating? I don't think so. I don't think you've ever repeated a question ever, which in and of itself is quite a feat, because you've asked over 342 questions. So to not repeat any is amazing. The fact that you've asked so many questions alone is amazing. Good morning, Linda. If I've missed anyone, I apologize and know that it wasn't deliberate, okay? Yes. Jasmine is fired. Jasmine is fired. That's good. StreamYard is fired. Okay. Snow in Denver. Wow. But you guys get a lot of snow over there, so that's good. Yeah. It's, don't you guys, aren't you like the ski center of the States? Denver and Vermont. I think Vermont is a big ski center also. You guys do a lot of skiing in Vermont as well, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but I think Vermont is another big ski mecca in the States. All right, so let me do the shout outs. Let me read them all out. Okay, so huge shout out to everyone on YouTube. Connie, hello. Huge shout out. So on YouTube, don't forget, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, please subscribe, share, and like our videos, and let at least one person know about what we're doing here every 2 weeks. And, we can start getting to 1,000. That's the goal right now, 1,000. So help us get to 1,000. So we're on YouTube at Bitten Peaches Publishing. You can find us there, YouTube at Bitten Peaches Publishing, or Storyteller at Bitten Peaches Publishing. We're there. Yeah, that's what I thought for skis. Yeah, in Vermont. So everyone on YouTube, thank you for watching the show. You may be watching it now, you may be watching it later. So if you're watching it later, because it is recorded and it's saved for all posterity, excuse me, on YouTube. Hello and welcome to our Kaffeeklatsch. On Instagram, I haven't posted anything on Instagram because I've been distracted doing other things, but I do have quite a long list of things to post on Instagram. I'm looking at my list here of things to post on Instagram. So, and I'm writing more things that need to get posted on Instagram. So I will get to it. I'll make a mental note to try to post at least one thing on each day until this list is gone through. And then I know Dottie will find another list for me because Endgame Tango is being written. I'm sure there's some lines in there that need to go up on Instagram. So you can find us on Instagram at BinPeaches. And it's the page that has all the excerpts from the books. So there are a few Bitten Peaches on Instagram. That the one that you want to really kind of follow is the one at Bitten Peaches. They're all us, but you know that one is the one that's going to be the most active. Yeah, I thought you said something. Oh, I'm just reading your mind. That's what's happening. So if you've looked at the MoB right now, oh, there are links up. Awesome. Let me put the links up. This is the first link that's perfect. If you look at the MoB, because this is the next thing I'm going to say, we have swag in the swag store. So go here. Here's the link. This is this Zazzle affiliate link. Go there. Go check out the new swag. This new swag. I'm telling you, the Zazzle store is kryptonite for my wallet. It's scary. I get into that store and I want to start getting everything. One of everything. The latest additions, I want to say, the latest designs are quite impressive. I'm not gonna spoil it. You need to go to the Zazzle store, go to the M&S Swag store, and go check it out. There's a link. Click on that link. Make sure it's this entire link with the reference number there, and go check it out because it's amazing what's in the Swag store. So I seriously recommend going to our Zazzle store. I'm gonna say the senior designer. No, you're the senior designer. Just the person who makes stuff. The senior designer, the person who makes stuff, has really outdone herself this time. So go there. Why don't you like your designer title? What's going on? I know the lead designer doesn't have a problem with it. She likes when I call her the lead designer. Okay. Oh, we have new patrons. Okay, so new patrons. We have new patrons or upgraded patrons. What is it? Both new? Yeah. Oh, new patrons. All right. First of all, thank you to all the patrons on Patreon. You guys are on Patreon. You guys are amazing. So new patrons are Mark Price and Jasmine Davis. Thank you both for joining our supporters. You guys are amazing. I thank you and appreciate you guys so much. Let me put up the Instagram links in case you want to follow us on Instagram. That's our Instagram link. I'll get it up for a little while. On Instagram, what I try to do is kind of put little windows into the books, little interesting comments that a character may say. Usually you can tell who's saying what from the excerpt, but sometimes it's just really interesting or deep or funny statements that stand out. So you really want to go to Instagram and kind of follow us there, and then you'll go follow the bunch of excerpts you can read. And here's another one for Instagram. This is another link that we have there. So just follow us on Instagram. Can I have a link for the Patreon page so I can talk about Patreon a little bit? Absolutely. Be awesome. I totally appreciate it. Because there's something in reference to the Patreon page that I want to refer to right now before we move on to the other stuff. So be fantastic. Who's that Facebook user who keeps putting up links? That's it. Another Facebook. These Facebook users. So if you have, please go to StreamYard. StreamYard doesn't like certain people apparently. But please go to StreamYard and give them permission so we can see your name. So we don't have to keep guessing, or you don't have to keep putting up your name every time you post something. This is our Patreon link. Now I'm doing this a little out of order because usually I talk about Patreon later. But since we're discussing our new patrons in Patreon, I want to say that there's a secret project that's coming at the end of May, and I'm gonna open up access to this secret project in May. but exclusively for the patrons. Just that project, not because it's a special project and it's early access. So if you want to get to see what happens in that project, I'm not gonna say anything about it because it's a secret project. Join our Patreon. That's basically it. So here's the link. Join now, join early, so that way once the stuff starts getting released, because it will start getting released. I mean, it'll start with the cover, it'll start with excerpts, it'll start with snippets, and you want to be part of Patreon to see that secret project. That's the most I can say. Can you say anything else about it? No, that's about as enticing as it gets. So go join Patreon, and then you get access to that secret project. Fantastic. And that project will be coming out at the end of May. So you can wait till the end of May, or you can be part of Patreon and get early access to it. We are also on BingeBooks. So we're on BingeBooks. So here's our link. Just join. It's free. Find the books, and you'll see all the books that we've done, all the books that I've done, and you can leave a review for them. You can leave little things, little comments if you need to. And the same thing goes for, thank you, Chris, BookBUB. We're on BookBUB as well. And you go join there, free. Find my profile and leave comments or leave reviews of the books that you've read. They're really good things to do because they just help with the social proof. So I really do appreciate when you join BingeBooks and BookBUB, Instagram, and YouTube. Just everywhere you can find us, join us, and especially Patreon, because Patreon, I create special stories for Patreon, right? That are exclusive just to Patreon, and I really enjoy writing those stories, and I enjoy sharing with the patrons because they're going above and beyond, and I wanted to do something special for the patrons. These are great stories. A few of the characters from those stories are appearing in Monty and Strong, but these stories are exclusive to the patrons. So I want you to get these stories, but in order to get these stories, you have to be part of Patreon. So please join our Patreon. Secret project. Oh, John. Oh, Martha. Yeah, okay. That's funny. That's a good one. Who wrote that? Check. I don't know who wrote that. That was good. Anthony. Yes. Hudson, yeah, okay. Good one, Anthony. That was good. It wouldn't be a fireball. It would be like asteroid. Who's asking about Patreon? Someone's asking about Patreon. No, I was replying to Rico. Oh, okay. If you Rico, hi. Welcome, Rico. If you just joined Patreon, no notifications. I don't know what that means exactly. Maybe we should. Yeah, okay, maybe you can clarify a little bit, Rico, so we can address it. Okay. Yeah, so that's everything in terms of the shout outs. Fantastic. And we still got a whole bunch of time. Awesome. All right. Let's get this done now. Or you just joined the live. I don't know what that means. You just joined the live. You just joined us here now. Okay. What does that mean? He just joined the live. Facebook didn't give a notification when it was starting. I don't know. That's weird. Something happens sometimes, Rico. Unfortunately, it does. Okay. We have authors to promote. So book 4, this is M.M. Crumley. She writes the Doc Holliday series. So this is book 4 in the Immortal. Whoa. Book 4, the feed is moving fast. Book 4 in the House of Graves series, House of Graves. So this is the link. Go there. Pick up M.M. Crumley's 4th book in her series. Welcome, Michelle. Jasmine, guessing. Yeah, Facebook didn't. Yeah. All right. Also, so this is we're gonna have to move quick because these links are coming quick and the feed is moving fast. Whoa, it's getting fast and furious. All right, Nicole Grotepas, Halo Stars, Sinengi, book 3. This is in the Duo universe. So the Underground series. So where they have a group of authors all writing together in a shared world. So it's the Duo writers group. And they're all separate authors writing in the same world with different characters. And I think that's a fantastic idea. The Delta Underground Operatives. Yes. 18 books, 12 indie authors writing in the same shared world. Here, let me put this up right here. Boom. The Delta Underground Operatives. So you got 18 books, 12 authors, 12 indie authors all writing in the same world, which is a fantastic idea. When you get a group of authors together and get them to all write in the same world, so you get to see the same world from 12 different perspectives, which is a really amazing, interesting thing. And so that's the link. Go get it. Jump into that world. Do they have a first book to like an introduction into the Delta Underground operatives? Like, which book is the first book? Do we know? Can we get that link, Chris? So that way, at least someone who may be unfamiliar, who may be unfamiliar with Duo, with Delta Underground operatives, would know where to enter this world, because I think that's the important thing, that because it's so many authors, is one author the flagship author, like the first author to jump into, or can you enter this world from any point, from any author? I'll have to ask Nicole, because I'm sure she knows. But that's a good thing. It's a good thing that we should kind of find out. Like, what series or what book do I get first? Because there are 18 books. Which book would be the best book to enter the Duo world in? I'll have to ask her. And Chris is saying that the link lists them in order on Amazon. So I don't know if they're in order of publication. I'm guessing they're in order of publication. So look at the link. That link that's there, that shows you the 18 books. And get the first one and jump into this world. There's a lot, 12 great authors, 12 great indie authors. Go in there and get their books. And you know what you do, right? We support our indie authors. So it's important to go in there and get all 18. Why not? You know, I know some of you read voraciously. So yeah, 18 books is like nothing for you. All right, so let me go into the promo and the book audio updates. Okay, so we already promoted. Yeah, I know Ben Zakan's in there. Nicole is in there. I don't know all 12 authors, but I might know all 12 authors. I'm just not familiar with the duo that much outside of like Ben and Nicole. I'll have to go look. I'm gonna get that link and I'm gonna go there and pick it up. Yeah. Who made it late? Better late than never. Paige. Hello. Good morning. Okay, you made it. And thank you for that Peaches image in front of Ezra's. That was really cool. Man, AI is really making strides, because I'm surprised that Peaches doesn't have like an extra leg or something, you know, or like weird ears. Oh, Kimbra's in Duo. Awesome. They should start like a Duo group. Don't they have like a Duo group that's a Facebook Duo group? They should. They don't have one. They should create one. Michelle, you're in there? Oh, I don't know if she's like, me, 4 books this week, start at 5th. Fantastic. Yeah, Michelle's, you're one of the voracious readers. Yes, see, you think that's voracious? 4 books this week? I know people who read books who read like that a day. It's insane. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't remember there being 12 authors in the beginning, Chris. I remember being less, but that's great. I think if they keep adding authors, I think they should really have a dedicated group to Duo, to create a reader group, so that all the people who are reading in their world can kind of, you know, share stories and, you know, share, hey, I enjoyed this part, and, you know, just talk about Duo. It'd be fantastic. They definitely have one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would. I know Nicole, she would do something like that. So if you want to join the Duo group, Benna, this is the Duo group. Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, 2 kids in baseball, golf, and soccer. Wow. Busy, Michelle. That's busy. That's a lot of running around. That's a lot of logistical planning too, because
there's a lot of games too.
Yeah, it's a lot of games to go to. Oh, you can do a lot of reading. Oh, that's true. You got a lot of downtime as you're supposed to be watching the games or golf. I don't know if I've never gotten into watching golf. I just can't. It's just, you know, like, I get it, and you know, it's a complicated and it requires a lot of skill, but it's not a spectator sport for me. I just can't. Now, baseball and soccer, yeah, both I can watch. But golf, even when like Tiger Woods was all the rage, and it was the craze, I couldn't watch golf. I still can't watch golf. Let's see. Yeah, the kid has a wrestling meet tomorrow. Hope to get some reading. Oh, okay, there you go. See, who's that? That's that. Oh, it's Jasmine. Cool. I guess it makes a lot of sense, because you're there. You're not going to watch every single moment. And if they have different matches, there's a lot of downtime for you, because you're not watching. Most of us, honestly, as parents, I'm going to take this link off, but this is the Duo link, so go there. Most of us as parents, let's be honest, when our kids participate in a sport like that, We're only there to watch our kid. I'm not there to, because honestly, I'm not there to watch all the kids. I'm just there to watch my kid. Even when the youngest Valkyrie was in ballet, I would watch and they'd have these like big presentations. I would watch the presentation, but really all I'm looking at is I'm looking in the group for where my child is. Oh, there she goes. Okay, and I'm really riveted in that moment. After she gets off stage, I'm like, oh, this is nice, but it's not the same, you know. But if you're coaching, it's a whole different thing. Yeah, both kids. Oh well, you're team mom. That's an important position on any team. Okay, so let's go to the book and audio updates. Endgame Tango, which is what I'm writing now, which is book 3 of the Treadwell Supernatural Directive, is going to be done. I want to say the art will be open next Friday. So next Friday, if you want to shred Endgame Tango, Sebastian and Tiger, and I don't know if I guess I could say that Gray is in this. I think I released a snippet with Gray in it. So Sebastian, Tiger, Gray are in this, and it's turning out to be a very interesting story. So Endgame Tango next week Friday. Hopefully, maybe even before that. So the art will be open next week Friday. So you know what you got to do. Send me a PM or a DM, and I'll make sure you're in the art group if you're not in already. Let's see. Yeah, basically that's it, Rico. I was waiting for my child to come on, whatever the case may be. Except for when I was teaching karate. Then I was involved in all the kids because I was one of the instructors. You know, but that's a different perspective, you know. Let's see. I was a driver for my daughter's basketball team. I had the station wagon. Yeah. Oh, I know what that's like. Having a car full of giggling kids. Yes. And Jasmine, yeah, wrestling. I'm just waiting for wrestle. Otherwise, it's book time. And plus, the gym stinks at this. Well, yeah, those gyms. I don't know what it is with gyms. I mean, ever since, even when I was in school, the gyms were never the best smelling places. So, yeah. See, oh, for sure. 8 little girls, 12 boys. For baseball, snack, setup, hauling. Oh, you're definitely team mom. That sounds like a team mom job. Yep. You got to set up for all the kids and get everything ready and make sure every kid has what they need. It's like wrangling cats for sure. Okay. So Endgame Tango is next Friday. The art opens. Immortal, which is M&S 23. Jeez, 23. Will be going live. I wanted to say it should be out the end of April. M&S 23. So busy few months. Blur, which is going to be re-released, will be the end of March. And Lost, which is a story with Peanut and Kai. If you don't know who they are, I'm sorry, because these are mostly Patreon characters. But Peanut and Kai, the next Patreon story will be the end of this. This is the end of this month, March. The end of March. So it's called Lost. It's a story with Peanut and Kai, and they get lost. Well, Peanut gets lost. That's how the story starts. They start with "We're lost." So it'll be really fun. And then the Secret Project comes out the end of May, and then I rest my brain for about a few weeks, I think. So yeah, and so that's what's happening with the updates, the book updates. Okay, let me say this now, so that way I don't forget. Our next mob is the 22nd. I keep forgetting at the end of the mobs. I don't say it's the next mob. So the next mob is the 22nd. Oh, also, I think I remember. I got it from memory. I think I can remember it. I have a note from Zoya, our Valkyrie, the closer, and she wants to. Because I told her we were doing mob Kaffeeklatsch today, and she really wanted to be here, but she can't because she has school. She wanted to send a note to all you. So she says, "Oh, if I can find it, Jeez. Here we go. All right." She says, this is a message from Z, the youngest Valkyrie, to everyone in the Kaffeeklatsch. And the message is, why do people in Athens hate getting up early? And in classic dad joke / pun fashion, because dawn is tough on Greece. So she made me groan this morning in the car. So why do people in Athens hate getting up early? because Dawn is tough on grease. Ba-doom, psh. All right. So that's the designated message from our official opener / closer. I think it's in the perfect spirit of the mob. Perfect. Let's see. I'm glad. I'm looking forward to writing them, Rico. I really am, because especially Immortal. Immortal is turning out to be really fun. The Secret Project, I'm bursting at the seams to talk about it, but I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to restrain myself from saying anything. But there are a lot of ideas kind of running and churning, and I'm hearing characters talking and things being said. Yeah, for sure, my kid. And yes, Connie, huge growth in the car, because she had me like, why do people in Athens hate getting up early? Because we were talking about getting up early to go walking, and you got to get up really early. I get up at 3:45, and then I go do my miles. And she said, I want to go with you. So you got to get up really early, because I'm out of the house by 4. So yeah, okay. And then she hits me with, why do people in Athens hate getting up early? I'm like, why do people in Athens hate up early? Because Dawn is tough on grease. I'm like, really? So, all right. But it was a good one. It really caught me off guard. Yeah. No, thank you, Michelle. Don't worry. You came in, you said hello. Thank you so much for being here. Have a fantastic weekend. I hope your appointment goes well. And the new books will be coming out soon. So yes. And kids do say the darndest thing. Have a great weekend, Michelle. So yes, please do try that out, Sarah, on your Greek husband. I'm sure he'll love that one. It's a little dated, because you have to kind of know the commercial, the Dawn commercial, and so I knew it, obviously, but it caught me up, because she's like young. How's she gonna know this Dawn is tough on grease thing? So, let's see, on both FB and YouTube. What is that, Rico? What's on both? Don't know what that means, but okay. So, some of the challenges writing Endgame Tango. I won't spoil it, because I'm about 30,000 words in, and it's gonna get to 50, and so next week I'll hit that pretty quickly. Oh, you're watching on both FB and YouTube, so you're getting it in stereo and double screens. Oh, really? I don't see him. Where? Oh, where? This one right here? Who's that? Eddie who? Simpson. Eddie Simpson, welcome. Can we get the StreamYard link? I don't, sometimes I wonder why we do sometimes, because it doesn't always work. But let's share it just for the sake of sharing it, and people could go there, let StreamYard have permissions, and then we can see their names. Because if you don't let StreamYard have permission, we don't know who you are. It just shows up as Facebook user. So yes, now I'm in your territory. StreamYard, allow names. Okay, here we go. Just please go to that link if you're just coming into the episode, into the show with us, and just let them have permission to show your name. It's secure. They're not going to take your information, although by now most of our information is compromised all over the place anyway. And if you let them have permission, they will show your name when you answer or when you comment in the feed here, which is awesome for those of us who need to know who we're speaking to, which is awesome and fantastic. So writing Endgame Tango. I'm at everyone has our info. I know, Chris. It's like I've heard people who complain about, oh, I'm not going to share my info. Like, you don't know how many places you have your info already. It's like, yeah, please. Maybe when we were growing up, Chris, like, when we were kids, you could keep your confidential information confidential. But at this point now, it's really hard to do that. I think it's almost impossible. Somewhere, someone, some organization has your information. It's just you can't avoid it, because you need to give it for almost everything requires some form of information. So, that's the way it is. That's the world that we live in now, right? Not to sound dystopian or anything, or 1984-ish, but that's really the way that's the way the world is now. So getting back to writing Endgame Tango, it's been interesting, and at 30K, which is more or less, I want to say 30K for me is about half the book. I mean, I aim for 50, so it would really be 25, but I know my books get a little wild and feral. So 30K is about halfway, and then I know that now it's like that roller coaster where it goes up, 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 and 30K is really at the point where we're cresting that part, and then just the drop, and it just gets breakneck after this. So I know that's when I start writing really fast and forget what commas are, and sometimes even periods, and I'm just writing, I'm blazing through the story. And it's going to be interesting with Gray in this one, which I can't really get into much detail, but there's a lot of similarity with what Sebastian's going through and Gray's baggage. So there are going to be references to that. So it'll be interesting. In college, I was red flagged after 9/11. Really? Wow. That's not good. Because at that point, everyone was paranoid. Everyone was paranoid. My Pell Grants were held up. I had to prove I was an American. And how do you do that? You get your passport? How do you do that? I was an American citizen because I was not born inside the country. Jeez. Punctuation. I've heard of this word, punctuation. Commas and periods. I've heard of those too. I don't know. I think they are overrated. Who said they're overrated? It's a person.
That's Eddie.
Eddie. Yeah, I think they're overrated. It's a person after my own heart. Commas and periods are overrated. You just slow things down. What author was it? I want to say it was Cormac McCarthy who wrote with no, I kind of want to say without punctuation. Was it without punctuation? One of these authors had this really distinctive way of writing where they didn't use punctuation or periods or something, or paragraph breaks. It was something like that. And I want to say it was Cormac McCarthy, but I'm not positive. But I think I'm going to lean in later books. I'm just going to write the book in one long block. Wait, someone did do that. Okay. Now, one author wrote a book on a roll of paper 120 feet long. I know this because I remember it, and I remember looking it up. Just remember what the author, who the author was. And he wrote it on this roll of paper that was that long, so he could write it all in one sitting. I wonder if it was Kerouac. I think it was Jack Kerouac. I think it was Kerouac who wrote it on one roll of paper 120 feet long, so he wouldn't have to stop. And he just kept, and it was just writing and writing and writing and writing without stopping. Probably a lot. I don't know if Death Wish wasn't around back then, but there was a lot. I'm sure there was a lot of caffeine involved. E.E. Cummings' poems are really interesting. I like them because I don't believe they have punctuation. So you kind of have to figure out the flow of the poem. Yeah. No, it wasn't one long run on paragraph, but it was just one story. Kerouac was from the Beat generation, right? I think he started the Beat generation. So his writing was very distinctive for the time, and he created kind of a movement. And so his way of thinking, and I was reading a little bit of how he thought about writing itself and his writing rules. And let me tell you, there was definitely some medication happening there. Either a lot of caffeine, alcohol, drugs and caffeine, something. There was some combination of all of the above, because the way his brain functioned, wow, it's just out there. But he wrote some stuff that was pretty amazing, right? And yet at the same time, he didn't last very long. I think he died in his 40s. So you can't beat your body up like that. You shouldn't. I mean, you can. You just shouldn't. Let's see. E. Cummings famously abandoned conventional syntax in all his poems. Yeah. E. Cummings is. I've read some Cummings poem. It's like it makes you think, because you can't. There's nowhere. You don't know where to stop. It just stop. You can stop wherever you want to stop. And I think that's part of what he was trying to achieve with the poetry, right? Kind of like, you can make this poem your own. You just add your own punctuation where you think it should go. Maybe no punctuation. Yeah, Corey McCarthy's importance to using punctuation is the worst facet of his writing and made the dialogue in Blood Meridian unfollowable. Yeah, a lot of people have said that his writing is unfollowable because he doesn't use punctuation, right? So his lack of use of punctuation in his work is mesmerizing and beautiful, and part of what made Blood Meridian one of the greatest. So you've got both camps, right? You've got people who and it depends, right? That's why art is amazing and it's subjective, right? You got people who can't stand McCarthy or reading McCarthy because there's a lack of punctuation, and they have very structured minds, and so if I don't have punctuation, I can't read this. And you got people who say, the punctuation is overrated, so I'll read it and find out what the story is as I read it. And so it depends on what camp you're in, and also depends on how you perceive the writing, because again, art is subjective. So it's one of the things as an artist, as a writer or a painter or a sculptor or whatever kind of artist you are, is that you make it your own. And so a writer has a voice, but a painter has a voice or style. A sculptor, every creative endeavor has a type of voice, an expression, right? The expression is the voice. So if you've got E.E. Cummings not using any punctuation, or McCarthy not using punctuation, or Kerouac using a run-on style and writing in his own, distinct way, that's what you can do as a person who is creative. You bring your voice, your unique you-ness, your unique person, your creativity to whatever you take on. There's that one kernel that makes it distinctly you, and that's really important that you don't lose that, because when you're writing, at least, and I can speak from the writing aspect, when you discover your voice and you start writing in your voice, first of all, it's very hard to go back to writing. Like the times that I've had to go back to write things that were pre-voice. So let's say I'm re-releasing Blur, and I wrote Blur early on in my writing, I want to say career, I guess, writing path. And so the writing in Blur is very different from the writing that I would do now. And so as I go back and kind of revisit, tweak, kind of adjust and change Blur a little bit, I look at the writing, I go, I don't write like that anymore. I have to kind of adjust this and fix it. And not that it was broken, but I have to change it, tweak it, and kind of make it feel more like where I am now. And also you grow as a writer. So it's once you discover your voice, everything changes. Or once you discover your distinct style, everything changes. And so this is the long process to get there. For some, it happens right away. For some, it takes a long time. It all depends. But as long as you persist in what you're doing, that's a creative endeavor, you will discover whatever it is that makes you distinctly you. And then it depends on you if you're willing to embrace that or not, or if you're going to conform to what someone else expects you to do. And when it comes to creative things, you should never conform, because, like I said, art is subjective. So some people are going to love the things that I write, and some people are going to absolutely hate the things I write. That's the way it is. That's why it's art. That's why it's subjective, because once I release a book and someone else reads it, that person, the reader, brings their own life experiences to that story. And so it makes it theirs as well. And for some people, they'll be able to resonate with the story. And for some people, they won't be able to stand that everything. I've had people say, I can't stand that hellhound, that all he wants is pastrami. I'm like, what am I'm not gonna write Peaches out of the story. That's not gonna happen ever. So it's like, either Peaches is part of the package. You gotta you take the story with Peaches, or you don't. But he's there. And so some people will be okay and resonate with Peaches. I mean, I personally love Peaches. And some people will be like, I can't stand that hellhound. That's why I stopped reading. I have had reviews that say I stopped reading the series because every book has that hellhound in it. And I'm like, I just laugh. It was like, I don't know what to tell you, because all the books have that hellhound in it. It's just the way it is, And it's funny because I was discussing with Dolly earlier that, you know, a lot of the neighbors, I know a lot of my neighbors by the dogs that they have, by their dogs. Like, so all the way, that's the neighbor that has Romeo. That's the neighbor that has that dog. That's the so I don't know the neighbors' names, but I know them by their dogs, and that's, you know, that's just the way it is. And I'm sure people knew me by Winter. I'm sure people knew me as the guy who has the white boxer, you know. And so Peach. So just to encapsulate this, Peaches for me, and I don't know because I can only speak to this from my perspective, right? Peaches for me is the heart of the series, right? I mean, you have Monty and you have Simon and you have all the other characters that surround them, but the heart of that series is Peaches and his interaction with Simon. But really, Peaches is the heart of the series, and by the same token, I've had people who can't stand Peaches, and I have people who absolutely adore Peaches. And the people who absolutely adore Peaches, myself included, really outnumber the people who can't stand Peaches. And that's okay, because those who can't stand Peaches will find another series that doesn't have a hellhound. That's just the way it is, you know? But Peaches, yeah, Peaches is the heart and soul, like Chris is saying, the heart and soul of the series for me. And for a lot of readers, I've had so many people tell me, I'm so glad, you know, or I've had people who've lost their dogs or who've lost their animals and lost their fur babies, and they can really relate to, you know, the interaction of Simon and Peaches. I can only write what's true for me in that regard. So, but that's what you do as when you're a creative person, you discover that thing that makes you creative, and then you discover your voice. And once you discover that voice, it's almost like you've opened the door into another phase or facet or room of your whatever your creative expression is. Like I can imagine Picasso when he started Cubism. Prior to Cubism, I've seen his work. He was doing portraits. He was doing like regular, you know, what artists do is painting things that, you know, I would see. This is what was it? What was that? At the Cloisters? The huge Picasso mural. There was a Picasso mural. There was a big Picasso mural at the Cloisters, right? It wasn't okay. If you saw it, you wouldn't know it as a Picasso unless you saw the signature, right? Because it was just people sitting at a table, but it was huge, right? So it was Picasso before he was known as his Picasso with his distinctive style of people with weird heads and, you know, square faces and Cubism and everything. So, but once he discovered and stepped into his stride as the Cubist and everything, that it was no going back for him. It was just like this Picasso, and then you know, when you become a Picasso, it's like I'm gonna do what I gotta do. That's just the way it is. Let's see. I'm sorry, I missed a whole bunch of stuff in the feed. So let's see. It would depend on the writing. Yes, it does depend on the writing. I'm pretty sure punctuation didn't exist until late in the first millennium. Sentences, thoughts just got separated by space. I would have to agree that it was probably one of the conventions early on. Yes, someone can't hang around long, but want to stop in and say, "Who was that?" Okay, I'm glad he came in. Bye, Eddie. In case you see this later, Audrey says punctuation can really change meaning. Let's eat, Grandma, versus let's eat grandma. Yeah, it's a big difference. Same words. That one comma changes the entire meaning. I can't read run-on paragraphs without punctuation or missing incorrectly placed punctuation. It's aggravating because the meaning could be unclear. And that's why punctuation is important. Yes, I agree. It's important. The difference between my first book and the third. Oh, yeah, because you grow. You grow so much. Like I read Blur now, and as I reread Blur, sorry. And I'm fixing all the paragraphs, changing the paragraphs, adjusting the paragraphs, revamping them. So half my brain is cringing and half my brain is just astounded. It's like, wow, I've changed as a writer. But the other half, so half is like, oh my God, I can't believe I wrote that. And the other half is, wow, you're so far away from writing like that. It's amazing, you know? So yeah, I had a very good English teacher, Rico says. Teach me about punctuation. Exactly. This was okay. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Love Peaches, Connie. I love Peaches too, Connie. Reading the book stops being reading and now becomes continuous editing in my mind. That happens a lot. And I have to be really careful when I read authors, because there have to be authors that I know have a decent handle on editing, because sometimes I'll read something and I know I've mentioned it. If I get commercials in the book, or if the editing is pretty much non-existent, it throws me off. I lose the story. I'm no longer understand, because my writer brain takes over and wants to start fixing things. It's crazy. Diane says Peaches holds me together. Peaches is amazing, Yeah, same, Audrey. Let's see. New comments. Peaches is the heart and soul. Yeah. Oh, Dolly, who's that? Who said Dolly has my sympathy? Who? Dolly has my sympathy. Re-editing. Yes. Are you editing it? Many other than yes. Very funny, guys. She has my sympathy too, because the way I write, sometimes I'll send her chapters and I'm just seeing a whole bunch of red, especially for Blur. Blur has a lot of edits. I'm seeing Blur. You guys aren't going to see Blur, trust me, until it's done. I'm working on the 4th book in my HF, most already written. I see the difference. Yes, you're definitely going to see the difference. Yeah. This is a creative artist and craft writing, for sure. For sure. I mean, every episode really does have a creative bent to it, but some more. Like last episode, if you weren't here, was a food episode. It was, my God, yes. You're patient. I just DNF it. Now, you guys know my rule, right? It's first sentence, first paragraph, first page, first chapter. If I'm not hooked by the first chapter, so those are the 4. I want to say, I guess, guideposts or filters. The four parts that have to really hook me. The first sentence has to hook me. If the first sentence doesn't hook me, the first paragraph has to hook me. If it's not the paragraph, the first page has to hook me. If it's not that, the first chapter. If by the first chapter I'm not hooked, I DNF. I can't. And likewise, I apply that to my own writing. So the first sentence has to be amazing, or has to at least be riveting. I'm not saying it has to be so incredible, the greatest sentence ever created in the history of writing. This is the one sentence that's going to dominate all sentences. One sentence to rule them all. It's not that, right? But it has to be intriguing. It has to hook me. It has to make me go, I want to know what's next. I want to keep reading. And it has to do that. It has to keep me reading. The first sentence has to keep me reading. The first paragraph has to keep me reading. I want to find out more. The first page has to keep me reading so I can turn that page. The first chapter has to keep me reading so I can go to the next one. That's it. Like Mickey Spillane says, the first chapter sells the book. The last chapter sells the next book. That's really, every writer should kind of think that way when they're writing their books, their stories, Okay. Auntie at Laura. So Thomas says, oh, tell her I said, thank you for sending the message for Laura Tallman, and I hope everything is going well. Yes. Mary says, please don't change Blur too much. It is one of my favorites. I'm not changing it. I don't think I'm changing it at all. What I'm doing is, does it feel like I'm changing Blur? Not really. Yeah, I don't think I'm changing Blur. What I think I'm doing is modernizing it a bit, because in that story they were using CDs and CD drives. I made it USB, kind of things like that. So, but the tone of the story, I think. Well, you know what? Who's this reader? Who? Mary Beth. Oh, I can see her. I can see her name. Huh. Okay. Yeah. So I won't change. I don't think. You could tell me, and I think I'll depend on the readers for this, because I'm not a good. I wouldn't be a good indicator for if I've changed it too much, because I'm the one who wrote it and I'm changing and I'm tweaking. But the readers will tell me if I've changed it too much. I don't think I've changed it at all, but I know I've made some minor changes that I think enhance the story. I hope enhance the story, but I think enhance it. I think it's removing some superfluous things, moving some things that if I had known when I wrote it, I mean, it's a great opportunity to go back to an earlier work and polish it. I think every writer wants to do that, because I've read things I would love to do that with the first sepia, but I know with sepia I can't do that. I just can't. It's not a story I can go back and do what I'm doing to blur, because sepia's finished. The 5 books are done. 2, I was in a much different space when I wrote sepia, so I can't go back and rewrite sepia. It was hard enough to finish the series after a 4-year break. I'm going back to blur after 10 years after writing blur. So I think that gap has given me enough space and perspective to go back and be able to do what I'm doing to it. But I don't think I can do that to sepia. It wouldn't. It would. And I couldn't finish sepia, the last book. If you read the last book, I'm not going to give it away. I wouldn't have been able to finish it the way I finished it if I hadn't waited 4 years. So it's a really weird kind of like, if he had gone back and finished and cleaned it up, he wouldn't have ended up the way he ended up. So it's kind of like chicken and egg thing. You know, I need to bring it to that Sid, the designer. He can kind of fix that. That's the whole situation, you know? All right. Oh, we have questions. Okay, hold on. Let me get to the questions. It's time for the questions. All right. I can't see the feed, but I got the questions. Okay. All right. Audrey, who has an unbroken record. I'm telling you, Audrey, just plan out the next year of questions and you can schedule them so that you don't ever miss your questions, or just email them. Email them and I can always post them up too. Okay. Audrey's questions. Let's see. Orlando. What is, and thank you for all the questions, by the way, because you guys don't understand how amazing it is to have the questions in the episodes. They are fantastic, and they give another added dimension to each show. So thank you so much. Have you been speaking to Dolly? What's going on here? This question. What's the most difficult thing about writing characters from the opposite sex? The most difficult thing about writing characters from the opposite sex is not to write in stereotypical men, stereotypical females. So if I write females, if you guys know that the females that I write are never damsels in distress, ever. I don't think I've ever written a damsel in distress. So the most difficult thing about writing an opposite sex character is not to write a male disguised as a female. That's really hard. You can't do that because you take away the femaleness of the character. And not defaulting into that is really important. You want to make sure if you're writing a female, you write a female, not a man disguised as a woman, right? In terms of the temperament or character. And to get the sensibility right of what a female would do in this situation, what a man would do in this situation, how would it be different? I have some liberties because I'm writing urban fantasy, so the women can be just as strong, if not stronger, than some of the men. So in real life, that's not always the case. Men are usually stronger physically. That's just biology. But because I'm writing fiction, the women can be just as strong or stronger. So that kind of removes that limit for me. That's pretty much it. The hardest thing about writing, let's say, females for me, opposite sex, would be making sure that they're not just men written as women, because it would change the dynamic of the whole story. So, and I won't pretend to understand the female brain because I'm not female, but I have a female who's I'm married to, and I could always ask her certain questions about certain things. And judging from the response, I could kind of fit that into the story, how a character would respond to certain things. So that's the hardest thing about writing female characters. And being true, not writing them like, for me, the biggest thing is not writing them as damsels in distress, because I was raised by Valkyries. So my mom was tough. And so I don't think I could ever write damsels in distress, ever. So that would be the hardest thing. Dolly.
I have a question.
Oh, jeez.
Why?
I knew this was coming when the head popped up at that. Right, the head. I saw your head coming to my peripheral vision. It's like,
I have a question.
Oh boy.
Why is it that the women stab or shoot their lovers and leave them to die? like Malka shooting Porter twice and leaving him to die, and then Regina stabbing him.
That seems like a trend.
What's happening there? Is there anybody else I forgot?
There's probably a few. Oh, Michiko has probably beat up Simon a few times. I think in those instances, it's a matter of establishing the threat level of who they are, because the male in that context has underestimated them. So like in Malka's case, it was definitely establishing that she's just as dangerous as Porter. And in Regina's context, she's somewhat insane. So she stabbed Sebastian, one, because she could, two, because she's unstable, but also to prove to him that she's just as much a threat as anything else he's faced. In Michiko's case, it was letting Simon know that no matter how strong he thinks he is, she's an ancient vampire and is way out of his league, and he needs to understand that. That answer your question? I hope so. All right.
So are they considered psychotic? I mean,
the women?
I mean, Regina kind of.
No, Regina's a sociopath.
But
no, Michiko is not a sociopath. Malka is she's not psychotic at all. She's just angry. And when it comes to Porter, she's angry, but she's not psychotic, and she's got responsibilities that she has to kind of put above Porter. So it's a matter of, I can't cater to whatever you may be feeling, or like the emotions or whatever. It's irrelevant in the context of what they're doing. Michiko, it goes back to, I'm not even really human. I've left my humanity a long time ago, and I'm a vampire. So it's not even a matter. It's not even apples to apples. That's apples to oranges. You can't even relate to me because, one, I'm so old, and two, I'm so powerful, and you're a baby in terms of you just became an immortal, and I've been around for hundreds of years. I've seen things that you've never seen, never will see. And so you think you can stand toe to toe with me. You can't. I'm going to show you can't. I'm going to kick your ass to show you can't. And because you can't just do it, because they're men that they're dealing with. Men don't deal well with someone saying, I'm tougher than you are. Most men don't deal well with that, or they don't process it well. The way you show a man someone you're tougher is you kick their ass. And then they understand, oh, that person's tougher than I am. That's the male brain. You can tell a man, I'm tougher than you. Don't mess with me because I'm tougher than you.
And then they fall deeper in love with him.
Yeah, kind of, I guess. Okay. That was our little aside. Great question, Audrey, getting me in hot water. All right. Dolly, what's the craziest, best thing that's ever happened to you on vacation, or the craziest, best vacation? All yours. Take it away.
Oh, I don't think I've had any crazy stuff. I don't recall, but I'd say the really cool thing that I've seen on vacation was the Amber Room in Catherine's Palace in St. Petersburg. So
oh, that's nice.
Really, I mean, the whole palace.
You can't go there now.
Amazing.
You can't go to St. Petersburg now.
It's just wow.
You can't go to St. Petersburg now. I mean, you guess you can, but not the way the political climate is right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't go.
Couldn't go to Russia now.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. Mm-hmm. That is amazing.
And then it was raining really hard, and there's sort of not a pond, one of those. I guess a pond,
like a little
pool thing. Mm-hmm. And there were a couple of Roma kids like swimming in the rain in the pond.
Nice.
And then they invited me in.
And you went in?
And of course I didn't.
Of course you didn't.
Because, brain-eating amoebas.
Yeah,
you never know.
Okay. That's good. That's a good point. Gotta stay away from those brain-eating amoebas. All right. Great question. Great answer. I don't think I'm ever going to see the Amber Room in my lifetime in person.
Okay,
but we see pictures. We'll take pictures. There are other places to go to. But that's a great experience, I think. Okay, next question. Thank you, Audrey. We still have a bunch of questions, so let's get to it. Orlando, is there an actor, actress that you have to see all their work? Oh my God. Jeez. Wow. Let's see. There are quite a few.
Martial artists.
Mostly a lot of martial artists that I have to see all their work, right? Bruce Lee, I've seen all his work. Jet Li, I've seen all his work. Jeez. Jackie Chan. If you noticing the trend that is most of these are martial artists, right? Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is interesting because I've seen all his work. Not that I have to see it, but just as of the way things worked out, I managed to see all his work to date so far. Berserker is going to be interesting. I'm going to see what happens with that. I like Nicolas Cage. I'm not okay. Here's the thing, Nicolas Cage. You know why I respect Nicolas Cage? Because he is his own actor. He takes on the craziest roles, and you can tell that he's having fun with it. You know, so I like watching Nicolas Cage because he makes the craziest movies or takes on the craziest roles and owns them, and it's just so much fun to watch him. It's fun to watch him have fun doing what he's doing. The last one, Renfield, I couldn't watch the entire movie because it was just so over the top. But his part in Renfield was really, really crazy. Let's see who else. What other actor, actress? There's a few actresses too that are fantastic. Zoe Saldana does really good work. Yeah, I like her. There's a few. I mean, the list is really extensive. If I had to sit down and write it, I could, but just off the top of my head, there's so many, Audrey, which is why you give good questions, Audrey, because it always makes me think. And I never look at these questions before the day of the Kaffeeklatsch because I want to give the most spontaneous answer that I can give. So yeah, there are quite a few characters that really I have to see all their work. Well, that if they're in a piece, I have to see it. Like who would that be? I like Matthew McConaughey, Mr. All right. He does some amazing work, and his last Guy Ritchie film, The Gentleman. Yes, excellent. There are also directors like that. Guy Ritchie's a director that I have to see all his stuff. It's varied. It's varied. Robert Downey Jr. as of late has done some amazing work. And that last documentary he did with his dad, if you haven't seen that, you should, because it's moving, it's touching, it's funny, it's incredible all at once. So that's a really good thing that he did. It's just so many of them. There's so many actors and actresses. So thank you for making me think, Audrey. Yeah. All right. Anthony Hudson has a question or a statement. Let's see. New York is, in many ways, as much as a character as the other folks in your books. This is true. Have you ever thought about having an avatar of the city showing and complaining about the property damage? Or is there already a character that fulfills that role? Yes. That would be Ursula, who is part of the Damned, who leads the Damned. And basically the Damned are the decons and mystical nulls elite division. That's what DAM stands for, it's an acronym, and they're basically responsible for cleaning up the mess that everyone creates, specifically Monty, Strong, and Peaches. So that's their job. They make sure the city stays intact, and that's what they do, and they're not always happy about it. And so you'll hear some references to them in other books, and I think in Endgame Tango there's some references to Ursula. So yes. All right, Chris Chrisman has a question. Thank you, Anthony. It's a great question. Chris Chrisman has a question. Actually, two questions. What would have saved you a lot of grief, time, money, had you known about it, or someone had told you before you started writing or trying to publish your first book? The first book you write, if you don't edit it, is crap. And that would have saved me a lot of time and grief. Not money, because I wasn't investing much money into it at that time. But the first book you write, get it edited, make sure. So here's the thing that I tell all first-time writers or all beginning writers or aspiring writers. You want to invest in these things. You want to invest in your editing. You want to invest in your cover. And you want to really make sure that your blurb description is top-notch. So I'll break it down for you really quick. The editing is that, well, it starts like this. Your description, your blurb, whatever you use to hook people. If the writing in that blurb, in that description is subpar, it's indicative in the reader's mind. It's going to be indicative of the writing in the book. So the prospective reader is going to see that blurb, that description, and they're going to think, boy, if this writer writes like this, whether good or bad, it's gonna color the, or what is it? It's gonna change the listening of you, the color, the perception of you, right? So if your blurb is awesome and hooks them, and I gotta read this book, right? That's the next. They go to the next step. If likewise, if the writing is, I don't know, this person doesn't know how to put these words together, that right there stops people from continuing. Let's say your blurb, your description is awesome. They're gonna go to the cover just because it needs to look professional. Now, I'm a graphic designer by teaching, right? I studied graphic design. I know what works in terms of color and composition. I don't do my own covers because I didn't study graphic design for book covers. I have them done professionally. So get your cover done well by a well-known studio, and that will lead people, if the cover is awesome, that will lead people to look inside the book, to see, go through the four horsemen, right? It goes through the first sentence, the first paragraph, the first page, the first chapter. So if you can't grab someone enough to get them to look inside the book, to try and at least skim the beginning of the book, somewhere along the line, something is weak. And so if someone had taught me that from the beginning, it would have saved me a lot of grief, a lot of time, and maybe a lot of money too. Yeah, for sure. So that's what I tell all beginning writers. Invest in those things. Invest in your cover. Get a professional cover done. Invest in your editing. Get professional editing if you can, or the best possible editing you can. And invest in your description and your blurb. And it's the hardest thing to do, surprisingly, for a writer, which is really a weird paradox because it's still writing, but you're distilling your story into a short paragraph. And that's hard. That's hard for writers because writers love to be wordy. And now you got to be streamlined, and you've got to cut everything that's not essential from this. What I've heard and what I've learned. So one sentence to describe your story, basically. An immoral detective, an angry mage, a hungry hellhound. What could possibly go wrong? There you go. It's mounting strong. So you got to be able to do that in one sentence. Any story that you create, you got to be able to distill it to that one sentence, what they call the elevator pitch, right? If you're in an elevator and you're with the biggest publisher in New York City, and you got to describe your book, how would you do it? Or your film. Let's say you're with a Hollywood producer, and he's going, I want to make your book into a movie. What is it about? It's about an immortal detective, an angry mage, and a hungry hellhound, and the cases they take. Boom. Hey, that sounds interesting. Okay, let's look into that. You got to be able to do that with any story that you create. One sentence. Let's say you have 30 seconds. What would you do? How could you describe your story in 30 seconds? So if I had learned that early on, I would have worked on that. But I worked on it a lot, and I got really good with descriptions and blurbs, and really, really good with it. So that just takes time and practice, and writing a lot of bad, horrible blurbs, and then polishing. Okay, last question, and we're almost done. If you could go back in time to your younger 18-year-old self, what would you tell him? What advice would you give? Messing with time travel is tricky, but I would tell him start writing sooner. Start really writing earlier. That's basically it. Like, get writing now. Start writing your stories now. But see, here's the thing: you can't, if you alter certain things, that everything has to happen when it happened, right? And if you alter certain things, this is what happens when you start thinking about time travel stories. You alter certain things, you alter the outcome. And so I don't know if I would give them any advice except be a good person. Be the good person that you are. That's it. I don't think I would change anything else, because I might alter the future outcomes of what I want to happen just by one little thing, saying, not crossing a certain street, not going to a certain place. You might alter your entire life. It's like I was talking with Dolly, and she was saying those are those pivotal moments in your life, that if you cross the street at this time and you end up meeting the love of your life because you crossed the street at that specific time on that specific day, and then you met that person, and then the rest of your life went on a completely different path because you met that person. What if you hadn't crossed the street that day? right? Or what if you got hit by a bus? You know, that's the end, right? So those things, those pivotal moments are so important, and you don't know which moment ends up being a pivotal moment. That's the thing. You only know that in hindsight. Like after years and years and years, if I had met this person on that day, then this wouldn't have happened and that wouldn't have happened. And there's this chain of events that are all dependent on that one little moment in time. So this is why you don't mess with time travel, just so you know. All right, those are all the questions. So to answer your last question, Chris, I don't know if I would tell them just be good, be the best person you can be, and start writing now. Definitely, I would say that. Let me go back to where we were. StreamYard. All right. Let's see. We've got no minutes, but I'm gonna look at the comments and then we'll close it up. Okay. There's a lot of comments. Oh my god. Okay. Dolly has my sympathy. Yes, she does. DNF it. Yes, I do. Okay. The grabs. Yeah, sentence. First chapter, first paragraph, first page. Yeah, all those. So first sentence, first paragraph, first chapter, first page, first chapter. That's the way it should be. Yeah. Maybe I missed this, but for Blur, are you doing a refresh and update or a sequel? Well, I'm doing a series. I'm going to continue the series, but I am doing a refresh and update, and then I'm going to continue the series because it stopped after the first book. So it's going to be right now. It's going to be 5 books, and then I'm closing it like it's going to be like Sepia Blue, which is going to be 5 books. And Dr. Freud joins the chat to hear the answer to Dottie's question. That's good. Seems like Michiko is more a sociopath and Regina's a psychopath. Regina's more the sociopath. Trust me, you'll see it in Endgame Tango. But Michiko, borderline, probably, yeah. But that's also she has a different way of thinking. She's not thinking like a normal human, you know. So it's different. Yeah. Are you all seeing the real? Yeah. Need to be a fly on the wall when they discuss characters. There's gonna be a lot of those discussions with the Secret Project. Yes, we do. We do have an entertaining relationship. Do I need to up my vacation game? Yes, I think I do. It's very important. Yes, yes. I like Cynthia Rothrock, but she's so long ago. I saw all her stuff. She hasn't done anything recently. You know who I do like now? Michelle Yeoh. And I've watched all her stuff ever since Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and even things before that. But she is excellent. You know who else? Tony Leung, I believe his name is, who was in the Grandmaster, the Ip Man story, but not the Donnie Yen Ip Man story, the other one. That was an excellent, excellent movie. And Zhang Ziyi, she's also very good. There's a lot of Asian artists that I watch everything that they're in. Yes. I love the movie where he even poked fun. Yes. Yeah. It's really important. Cage and Ghost Rider. That movie, I haven't seen it. The one with Pedro Pascal, another great actor. But the Unbearable something of Nicolas Cage, it's something is where he makes fun of being Nicolas Cage. It's fantastic. An Avatar, the city complaining. Yeah, Ursula would be that Avatar for sure. Let's see. Audrey says a bad cover indicates, at least to me, that the author may be careless. Yes. On a deeper level, if you as an author, and I say you, the general you as an author, if you as an author do not have a good cover, you're conveying a lot of stuff without even saying a word. One, I don't care enough about my cover. I don't care. Or the alternative is I don't have the funds yet to get a good cover for my book, in which case that author should wait or make the investment, because it is an investment, right? But if you just put out a book and you put out any cover on it, you may be letting your readers know you're not really invested in this writing thing. I agree with Audrey in that. I've seen a lot of covers. Yikes. Yeah. So writing that one sentence blurb is beyond hard. It is monumentally difficult. Most writers are pulling out hair. Look, pulling out hair. This is from all the blurbs I've written. Okay. And you wrote the book. Yeah. You're the one that has to write the blurb, and you wrote the book. And it's like, it's still hard. All right, let's see. The leaves are changing color for autumn. Nice, nice. Turn left. Doctor Who fan, for sure. You cannot something a change. Okay, can't risk a change. Yeah, you can't. You really can't, especially when it comes to time travel. Yeah. Thank you so much for the show. You guys are so amazing. I am so privileged to have all of you here every 2 weeks when we do this. Yes, time travel is always a great topic for us to discuss. I love talking about time travel. It's fantastic. So I want you all to have a fantastic weekend. You guys are incredible. From the topics you bring up to the questions that you ask to just being here and the comments that you make. It's always a privilege to have you guys here with me on every 2 weeks, and we get to talk about pretty much everything and anything. And so that is, I am truly fortunate and honored to be having this Kaffeeklatsch with you. I'm looking at the episode 114. I can't believe we have done 114 of these. I really can't. The number is staggering. It's just hard to wrap my head around. We've done 114. I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank Chris for his technomancy. I want to thank Dolly for everything, because you guys I can't do this alone. I know I'm here, I'm the face, and I'm talking, but you constantly see me talking to Dolly, and Dolly's doing a lot of things behind the scenes that you never see, as does Chris. And each and every one of you that comes in and participates, you make a big part of this show. So have a great weekend, and don't forget the 3Bs. So be kind, right? Be unstoppable. Don't let anything deter you from what you want to chase in terms of life. And be uncommon. Don't be the norm, okay? Be different. Be you, all right? Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.